Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Here with Aussie Formula Racing Tier 1 Season 8 Round 8 from the French Grand Prix. I'm Gus Rules, and joining me tonight is the one and only Psycho. How you doing?
Hey, good to be here.
That's very good to hear. Alright, I'm just going to jump into the race lobby now. Oh, we're here for full qualifying here in Tier 1. No news on the weather, but it's looking like a very sunny day here in the south of France.
Yeah,
And
Alpha, the AlphaTauri pit wall has communicated to me that there is no rain.
no rain. Wonderful. Hopefully we see safety car or two in the race. Might mix things up a little bit. We saw not a lot happening in the Tier 3 race a little bit earlier. And no safety car came out at all, even though it was a retirement. So hopefully we get a little bit of a more entertaining show for you here in Tier 1. Got a Sim Dogger, as usual, first out on track on the medium tyres. And Bieber on the wet, so you've seen him on the wet tyre in Q1 before. And I doubt there's going to be much grip for him, so we have to keep an eye on him, make sure he doesn't end up in the barrier.
This is probably the safest track to do that on.
That's true, you got plenty of runoff, but as we see, Bieber has spun in the first sector on those wet tyres, so yes, we need not dwell on that. But yeah, you might notice a few drivers on inters and wets. It's because the game doesn't allocate you enough tyres for qualifying. And to make sure that you can get through all three sessions, some of the drivers, rather than just doing the one lap in Q1, they will opt to do two with the first on wet tyres for a banker lap. Bit weird, but we're just going to roll with it.
The main point of difference around here is that it is very much a split opinion as to whether or not you go from softs to hards or softs to mediums. So it's pretty borderline, I think, depending on who you are.
This is probably the one track where we're going to see the full qualifying format really come into its own with the free choice of tyre. Well, sorry, with the tyre choice for Q2 determining what you start the race on. So it'd be very interesting to see if some of the front runners opt to try and qualify on the medium tyres in the next stage of qualifying. But that's for us to discuss in 15 minutes' time. Let's just jump on board with Simdoggo, who's starting our first flying lap here for Tier 1 qualifying. Another yellow flag as Fever has spun in Sector 3. Simdoggo keeping it nice and tidy through the first sector onto this nice back straight. I will not try and attempt the corner names. Very funny clip to look up of Kunai Zero doing a wonderful job attempting to pronounce the corner names. And then an even better clip of Nut correcting him in a subsequent YouTube video. So please look that up if you have not seen it yet. Solid second sector there from Simdogger, but that's pretty easy to do with about 3 corners and 2 long straights.
Not hard to do when you're going up against wet tyres.
Absolutely. It comes through this more technical third sector. Very, very tricky. Lots of off-camber corners. Double apex corners as well. Speaking of, coming to the second last corner, which is one of the trickier ones. It sets you up to the final corner. Very tricky to get your line right and control the traction at the same time. Braking as you turn, and Simdogger will come across the line. And he sets a 130.632. Now, Psycho, what times are we expecting here to be the cutoff for Q1?
Putting my Bono hat on, I would say that we'll be looking at around a 29.5 for Q1, and then potentially down to about a 29.1, I think, for Q2.
Wonderful. Thank you for that insight. We got Fever in the chat. The wet is not in the working range. I kind of figured that, given that the track was dry, but yes, glad you decided to do that. A little bit of intelligence gathering for us anyway. Thank you, Fever, as always. Oh, as Trin has a big moment out of turn 2. Spinning off into the Rolex signage there. A bit of... he's got a big cube of polystyrene stuck in his front wing there, but it magically disappears as it does in this video game. We had Artanis there go fast with the 130.177. Baitmate as well. That's a quick time. Pondon beats his teammate there with 129.464. We jump on board with Captain of Gold and the Alfa Romeo, who has invalidated, so I'm not going to jump on board with the Alfa Romeo of Captain Nicole said they're going to be combined YouTubers on the Inters. Should have a little bit of a better time than FIBA did. We'll be able to see the delta. Look at Macau, sets to 142.544 on the Inter tyres. We've got a yellow flag for Mercedes getting out of the way of those on the hot lap. And combined will come across the line. And it's quite a late finish line. That just caught me out once with how far down the straight it actually is. There's a lot of white lines that cross the pit straight there. As he's missed the apex to the first corner, goes straight on through the barricades. And he's trying his best to follow the guide of the bollards in the game, but I found out as well on the back straight, when you try and take the bollards to avoid getting the penalty for cutting the chicane, it doesn't work. You still get a 10-second penalty. So thank you, Codemasters, for that at the end of the race. Jumping aboard with the other Ferrari, we've got Crush here in the final sector. A little bit of traffic up ahead. Hopefully they are aware that he's coming through. We've got Potsy there in the Red Bull. Good to see him back, reserving again tonight.
Potsy getting well out of the way for Crush. Crush using absolutely all the track in this final sector.
And he flicks it round. And we had to have 2 dabs at the throttle. They nearly lost it under acceleration out of the corner. Sets at 130.261 though. It was nearly a fastest time on the medium so far. So really solid effort by him. Let's have a look at what else have we got currently on a lap. We've got a Sandeezy, the Alfa Romeo, is coming through turn 2 at the moment. He is just behind the the Red Bull of, I think that's Potsy. He's on a lap. It is Potsy, as you can see there from the graphic, and he darts off the racing line there. He was doing a lap on the Inters, and I think he just wanted to get out of the way of Sandeezy there, who looks like he's trying to set a decent time here on the medium tire. Got a yellow flag as the Ferrari Crush stays well off the racing line there. Hey, Baguette, good to see you again.
Who? Okay. Oh.
Sandeezy. Not too bad through the chicane. It can take a lot of curb there, but you've got to short shift it up pretty quickly to control the wheel spin. It is very easy on the exit of the chicane to lose the rear. And it will send you off into one of the walls. We've seen a few retirements there in previous races. Slightly missed the apex there on the double apex right-hander. Sector 3, but this is just going to be his banker lap. And this is a very tricky, again, double apex left-hander. Running it out wide across the curb and to the final double apex left-hander. Keeps it in 3rd gear. We've seen some of the others run it in 4th just to get a little bit extra control on the wheel spin on the exit, but he manages to come across the line and he'll set a time of 1 minute 30.626. A few tenths off the quickest time we've seen on the medium tyre, but still a pretty decent time for a banker lap here in Q1.
Yeah, I'm just on board with Hero. He's coming to the pits now. He's invalidated 2 laps on the mediums, so he'll have to try and do what he can on the softs, I think.
Absolutely. Jumping over with T-Mac now, who's being overtaken by his teammate Big Out, so it looks like a little bit of a... No, I don't know why T-Mac's not pushing on this lap. It doesn't say out lap. And he hasn't invalidated. Still got his front wing. It's all part of Al's plan, apparently.
I think maybe he was going to, and then Al said, no, back off, I'll tow you.
Possibly, but...
Well, actually, knowing them, Al would have said that, Tim would have backed off, and Al's just going to pit now.
What is going on at Alpine? They're too far apart now, they're not going to get a tow here.
Unless he's planning on it for a tow down the back straight, it'll be more effective.
Possibly.
Let's keep an eye on it and see what these guys end up doing.
T-Mac did a slower time on those soft tyres than Combined did on the intermediate, so that tells you what kind of a lap that was from T-Mac.
It is, he's very hesitant through turn 1 too there.
So we get some drivers who aren't going to make it through to Q3. They'll be using up their medium tyres in Q1 so that they save more softs for Q2. Some other drivers will be using the mediums in Q2 to try and start the race on the mediums, because we are expecting a dry race, and the medium soft strategy is faster than the soft hard strategy that we'll see people have to do, if they qualify in the softs, very high degradation here at France, and those front tyres get absolutely tortured. Very tricky to keep the temperatures in the working range. A lot of fast flowing corners that will overheat those front tyres.
Yeah, I'm watching this lap from T-Mac, and he's not getting a toe.
No, and I don't know what happened. As Captain of Gold's retired, is he in the pit lane? Has he crashed on the exit of the final corner? Looks like he's actually crashed into the pit lane.
I think he crashed. Yeah.
Is he in the pit lane or is he on the straight?
Well, hopefully T-Mac will be able to see.
He has crashed into the pit wall.
Well, that's a problem. Yeah, he is. He's in the pit wall.
Yeah, there he is. Look at him. He's gone. I think he's lost the rear and he's gone backwards into the pit wall, and that's broken his diffuser. That is the most bizarre retirement I think I've ever seen on this track, and I've seen Pepsi bin it at the start of the DRS straight several times. But that takes the cake. Well done, Captain of Gold. But I think he might be done for qualifying. Yeah,
that's unfortunate. If you do crash in qualifying in any of the sectors, doesn't matter if you make it through to the next sector. If you crash the car, you are done.
That's it. So, jumping on board with Eckham in the Aston Martin. He's currently P14. Fieber on the soft tyres has invalidated his first lap already. 6.5 minutes left in this qualifying one session as Eckham goes 1 minute 29.271. Third fastest off the session so far. And jump on board with Hero, the McLaren driver.
I believe Hero has said that he plans on winning this race.
I'm sure every driver says that they plan on winning the next race that they're participating in, and only one of them can, as he nearly loses the rear. Very tight and twisty, turns 5, 6, and 7.
It would be remiss of me not to mention Hero's last safety car restart around here.
Do enlighten us what happened in this safety car restart?
He was leading the pack coming around the last corner, and tried to go a little bit early, ended up losing it, spinning, and restarting from the very back of the field.
Sounds about right.
It's a very, very popular GIF in AFR that keeps coming out, the one that says cry about it, and then it's just him spinning at France.
Yes, do check us out on the Discord for AFR if you want to see that wonderful GIF. It looks like a pretty tidy lap so far from Hero, apart from that little moment he had coming onto the back straight. Comes through the tight and twisty final sector.
I think it's a pretty solid lap for the mediums by Hero.
Yeah, it comes across the line, and it will be P8 130.261.
Nicely done.
On board with the Red Bull of Potsy now is coming up to the chicane. Pretty well so far. It sets a purple second sector apparently. Looking good for the Red Bull driver. Runs very deep. A very complex right-hander has to have a couple of stabs at the steering. Looks like he got a little bit of understeer. Oh, using so much curb there. So close to invalidating lap there, and he throws it into the second last corner. I think he might have been carrying a little bit too much speed there, kind of washed out. Going a bit wide, but straightens it up nicely out of the final corner. Opens up the DRS, comes across the line, and he sets a 129.833. It's good enough for P9 for the moment.
Mikael's on a lap just in front of him.
Yeah, jumping on board with the AlphaTauri driver, currently sitting in P16. He's got a bank lap on the intermediate tyres, so 142.391 he needs to find. Now, it's a little bit confusing because Captain of Gold is sitting in 15th after that retirement. Needs to set a 131.191 to get into Q2.
Mikael is probably looking at doing a one lap here just to get it in so that he can save his tyres as much as possible.
Oh, he's invalidated. Took way too much curb there on the inside. We saw that from the onboard shot. Got to make sure you keep at least one tyre on that bitumen. And he just got a little bit greedy there. And he's got 3 minutes 20 to set another lap. So hopefully he's got the fuel tank well and truly set for another run. I imagine he would, Psycho. You probably have a better idea about that. Is he going to be fueled for another run?
He would be, yeah. Yeah, he'd have fuel for at least 2 runs.
Yep.
He'll plan on burning this tyre and not using it again. So he'll go out, set his time, get through, hopefully get through, and
he's
then
very quick. I mean, look at his teammate Batemate, 129.096. He's 1,000th of a second quicker than Artanis at the moment. Very good times there at the front. And we'll stay on board with Mikau for his second run here. Hopefully has better luck this time. Still, a 131.191 is the cutoff time. Oh, as you see, the McLaren there coming out of the pits, having to get right off the track to avoid impeding his qualifying run. It is a terrible pit exit at the track, I must say. It feeds out right into the start of the braking zone for turn 1 on the racing line. It's horrible.
It's horrendous. There's nothing that the cars leaving the pit can do about it. Like, they just can't.
I feel like they
slow
should just
down
extend the pit exit to maybe make it go straight past turn 1 and feed into exit turn 2, because then you're on the inside and you're off the racing line. You can add a chicane or something safer, just to slow them down, so that, they're not flatlining it out of the pits. But do something, and you can see there he actually had to have 2 stabs at the turn, but he didn't invalidate, importantly. And Mikau's pace, I think the time should be good enough for him to get through. We've got a minute 45 to go, so still time to do another run if needed. As he comes into the... Oh, he gets off the throttle so late into that corner. So tricky to know where to actually start lifting off and braking, because it's actually well into the corner that it actually commenced. So incredible pace being carried through these very fast and flowing corners. Comes into final couple. Flicks around the final corner. Only in second gear. We've seen most drivers opting for at least third or fourth. And he straight lines it, uses much of the track as possible, and he'll come across and set a 129.078. It's good enough for P2. And I think he's well and truly safely into the next qualifying session.
Yep, that'll put him through. He's done very well there.
Now, I'm going to jump on board with Feber, who's currently dead last, has not set a time yet. So this is one-shot quali for Feber. And you see that he got right out of the throttle there because he took way too much curb at the entry of turn 2. And I think he was a bit worried he might have been validating. So this is a high-pressure lap here for Feber. He's having a couple of stabs at the corner there as well. He's very nervous on this lap. He's really nervous because he cannot afford to invalidate. And he's invalidated all of his runs so far. He's going to get a little bit of a tow here from the Alfa Romeo in front. I'm not sure. Let's say Deezy there. I don't think he's on a lap, but I hope he gets out of the way because Feber, here we go, he gets out of the way just in time for the braking zone. So Feber flicks it around the corner into the chicane. And this is looking a little bit better from the McLaren driver.
This will be in the 127s. Oh, 128.7, sorry.
Well, 127, so a little bit too quick at the moment.
Nah, we'll save those for Q3.
Yeah, absolutely. The car around in Sector 1 and the twisty bit. Just for the start of the next sector. It's cleared now. As Feber, he nearly lost the rear there. A bit of a wiggle in the rear, but he's managed to control it. It comes into the final couple of corners using every little bit of track, shifting down through the gears. Now shifting up, keeping control of the traction out of the corner. And I think this is well and truly safe now. And he comes across the line, setting a 128.948. Solid job from Feber.
Most Feber thing ever as well to wait to the very last second to get a lap in.
We usually see that from Hero, who in fact is P17, also in danger of getting kicked out. So he's in the final sector at the moment as well. So far this lap is looking okay. And he'll flick it into the second last corner as well.
Oh, I said 129.5. How close am I?
And here we go. Hero comes across the line. Is he safe? He is P6 for the 129.122. Jump aboard with Ponton, who's invalidated, so he is still at risk, but I don't think anyone behind him is going to beat that time. So we say goodbye to Apollo, Pepsi, Captain of Gold, Potsy, and T-Mac out of qualifying. And look how close that is. 7/10 of a second between first and 16th.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, unfortunately we lost Cap early on. Grey Goose down dead last. Potsy, our last World Drivers Champion, 17th. Obviously reserving, so he didn't have too much notice to practice. And I think T-Mac is actually sick.
He is, so a bit under the weather is poor T-Mac, so still a solid effort to be within a second of the fastest time in Q1, so, and it was his teammate as well, so really solid effort there, but unfortunately he is out, and we'll have to sit by and wait for the next 30 minutes as we complete qualifying here. So fastest time in that session was a 28.932. FIBA just 16 thousandths of a second behind P2. We've got Mikau and P3 as well. Driver at risk was combined YouTuber 129.566. He made it through by just over a tenth of a second. So very, very tight field here. And now it gets interesting. What do you think is going to happen in Q2? We're going to see some medium runners try and start the race on the preferred strategy, or are we going to see some drivers who might not think they would usually get into Q3, who might just go out onto the soft tyre and try and knock a few front runners out of qualifying? What do you think?
I don't think anyone's fast enough to do it. To be honest, I think the fastest Big Al and FIBA could possibly get on those mediums would be like a low 129, and that's cutoff point. Like the 129.1 is pretty much where you got to be if you want to be in Q3, and I don't think they've got the pace in the mediums to do that.
Yeah, it's interesting because in previous games when there's clearly an advantage to start on a certain tyre, we've seen the whole grid try and qualify in the mediums because the softs just isn't viable at all. But we're seeing in this game in particular that people are preferring to go with track position over having the fastest strategy. So it's interesting to see how it plays out. Let's bring up the stats to see who is actually going to start on what tyre. We've got FIBA and Big Al opting the medium so far, but we see there, I think that is Big Al himself is coming out onto the track first, so we'll jump on board with the Alpine driver. And thank you, Ali, in the chat. Fun fact, Big Al is actually small. Did not know that. Must take after his brother then. Anyway, we go back to the scenic shot for this outlap. Well, not much is happening as he's completely obliterated that bollard, which just bounced all the way down to turn 3. I don't know what that bollard did, but Big Al.
That bollard nearly joined him at turn 3.
It did. It was almost gone faster than him. So still only FIBA and Big Al on the medium tyres. Everyone else still in the pits on the softs. We do see Pondon and Simdog up on their outlaps as well. Crush coming out of the pits too.
Yeah, these guys are going to be pushing hard to try and make it. The likes of Simdog and Pondon don't usually see Q3, so they'll be using all of their softs just to try and get a lap in that could possibly push them through.
Do you reckon it's possible that there might be some people foxing on the softs? Maybe running in a lower engine mode, lower ERS on the softs just to get their eye in? Maybe reusing the ones they used in Q1 and then they do a all-out lap on the mediums at the end? Or do you think it's going to be flat out from the start?
I think it's going to be flat out from the start. Those guys need all the runs they can get to try and make it to Q3. And if FIBA and Big Al are on the mediums now, that means they're not going to try and use them at the end.
Interesting to see what Mikau does. He's currently got the soft selected. Still in the pits though. You think that they might be waiting to see what the cutoff time's going to be on the on these tyres as Big Al comes to start his lap?
It's possible that Mikau might be waiting for the cutoff time, just get an idea of what it might be. To play it safe though, he probably will come out and do a somewhat representative lap on the softs, just so he's not dead last.
Well, I guess the advantage of doing your run early on the medium tyre means you can just sit in the pits and wait until 2-3 minutes to go to see how that kind of ends up against the rest of the field. But Big Al had a massive moment coming through turn 2, nearly lost the car, was able to gather it up, but that's going to hurt his time like a couple of tenths, I would imagine. And you really can't afford that. You have to nail your first lap if you're going to try and make this alternate strategy work.
Yeah, absolutely. He's both him and FIBA. I'm on board with FIBA at the moment, and they're both pushing like hell, absolutely using all of the track they can.
Big Al had a bit of a wobble coming out of the chicane on the back straight. Again, it's going to hurt a little bit of time. The problem with these really long straights is that if you don't get a good exit, it will hurt you all the way down to the next corner, because you will not reach that maximum speed as early as possible.
Yeah, just watching FIBA go through there, very similar style, just so aggressive on the corners. Oh, FIBA big wobble in sector 3. That's going to cost him a bit of time.
Well, Big Al's about to come across the lines. We'll see what kind of time he can do on the mediums. And he's set to 130.143. I don't think that's going to be enough.
That's about a second off where it needs to be.
Simdog is set to 129.932 on the soft, so it's reasonably close to some of the soft runners. We see FIBA do a 129.837 on the medium tyres. Have to follow what's going on. Pondon goes fast at the 129.605 on the soft. To see Mika still in the pits, waiting to see what he's going to do. Crush goes fastest to the 129.333. Lined in the other Ferrari just starting a lap. He's actually invalidated, so we're going to jump on board with CJ. He's about to come across the line. And he sets 129.529. Jump on board with Tanis, who's coming into Sector 3 now as well. Snags, no Red Bulls made it through to Q2. We do have Potsy currently racing for Red Bull, but just the one tonight, I believe.
Sandy's went out and validated his first run straight away. Mikhail's out on the softs now.
Yep, can see that on screen. So he thinks that softs are the way to go. So Tanis will come across the line now. He sets a 129.182. So Big Al, as he said, about a second off the fastest time here. He's going to want to think about slapping on a set of softs. FIBA, it's a few more tenths in his pocket, but I don't know. You probably feel that that's a little bit too close, as both Combined and Sandizia have invalidated the laps that they're on. So we're going to have to wait for... I think it's going to be Combined going for a new run. So jump on board with him now.
Taco in chat is Pondon the YouTuber. He's the Twitch streamer. I don't know if he uploads to YouTube. Possibly the same person.
He's still affiliated with Veloci, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yes, so he is the Veloci Pondon.
Yeah, had a race reasonably recently with Blendo, I think. Which is interesting.
Oh, did he win?
Oh god, no. Hero is absolutely throwing this car around the track. He's going to be well in the 128s.
Still on board with Combined here. He's just come to the end of Sector 2. Goes purple, apparently. So, great middle stint there for the Ferrari driver. And he's got a little bit more time to find in this final sector.
Super GT won that race.
But it's F1.
I know. That's why I'm concerned.
So Combined not using as much of the curb. I wonder, because he's a pad driver, I wonder if it's just a little bit of an issue with the traction over those curbs, with the force feedback.
I see Mikko doing the same thing.
And comes across the line. Combined goes P8 with 130.175. We're going to jump on board with Ekim, who's invalidated. Jump on board with Hero as I press the wrong button, and there we go. And he will come across the line. Hero fastest 128.918. Come on board with Mikau, who's about to complete his lap as well. And out of the final corner, Mikau really good on the throttle, controls that wheel spin nicely. And he comes across the line, sets a 128.739, fastest so far in the session. His teammate comes across the line as well, and he sets a 128.866. It's currently an AlphaTauri 1-2.
Red flag, red flag.
Jumping on board with Sandisi, who's probably not got enough fuel to complete this lap. Yeah, only one I think. Oh, we do have Big Al as well on a flying lap. He's just started one. He's currently on the medium tyres with a P10 of 130.143. So he is safe for the moment, but he is at risk with a number of quick drivers yet to set times in the session. Purple sector 1 for Big Al. And we did set the fastest time in the first qualifying session.
Yeah, both him and FIBA are pretty rapid around here. I'd say pole would be between one of them.
Your boy, his current time he's set is on the mediums, is what I said, 130.143. He is currently doing a lap on the softs to better that time because he's at risk of being knocked out if he doesn't improve that time.
Both St. Easy and Endocat could not get valid laps in, so they're back in the pits. They'll be doing one shot.
Yeah, we've got 6 minutes left in the session though. You can still get 2 laps in if required, but with this track it is very tricky to do a quick out lap because you do heat up the tyres very, very quickly.
Trin actually hasn't even left the garage.
He has not. Still 5.5 minutes to go. As Big Al will come across the line. A few more meters, and there he goes. Fastest 128.676. Great time there from the Alpine driver. We're just on board with Eckham now for Aston Martin. And getting a... looks to be a reasonable time here. Come across the line. And it's a 129.064. I think we've got Fever on a lap again. Currently 7/10 up on his time, so expect him to do something in the range of a 129.1 unless he can find even more time in this final sector. I think his previous time was on the mediums as well. It was.
Yes.
So he should find a bit of an improvement. Oh, he does have a bit of a wobble out of the final corner, but I don't think that'll affect his time too much. So he comes across the line and sets a 128.634, just 0.04 of a second quicker than Big Al.
And that was not his best lap.
Absolutely. Now, I think, what have we got? Endocat is going to be the next one to start a lap. Jump off board for the moment while we wait for them to mosey on around the track. So at the moment, we've got Trin, Endocat, and Sandeezy yet to set laps in Q2. Currently, the cutoff time is 129.605. Everyone will be starting the race on the soft tyre. So, what do you reckon, Psycho? It's going to be a soft-hard race, or do you think someone will be doing a two-stop?
I think some of these guys are going to play in for a soft medium. Unless it's a safety car, then it'll change things up. But I think the plane is going to be soft medium. And I think the guys starting outside the top 10 are probably going to go for like a medium hard or maybe a medium soft. But I wouldn't be surprised if some of these guys actually do opt to go for the soft hard instead. It's very, very difficult to make the soft medium work.
Yeah, the softs tend to get shredded pretty easily. The mediums can go pretty far, but you do lose quite a bit of pace towards the back end of the stint. So I think, yeah, I don't know. It depends how well they can control the temps on the soft tyres. If they can't keep those under control, then they may find that, yeah, they have an early stop onto the hards.
It's one of the very few tracks where the where there's possibly more than one good strat. Yeah,
absolutely. That's what's you know, we complain a lot about this track and just how tricky it is to control the temperatures. And oh, it was a big slide from the Mercedes, catches it, but that's going to absolutely ruin his first sector. And he's backed out of it now, so that's him done for this lap. Jump aboard with his teammate, who's on a lap as well. Yeah, as I was saying, you know, for all we complain about how you know, bad this track can be to drive because of how difficult it is, it does offer a lot of strategy variations, especially when you get a safety car in the mix, as rare as they are with you know, so much runoff. There's still a few tricky corners. I'm sure we'll find one or two catching out our drivers. Not looking at you, Pepsi. We'll see what happens.
I've gone and titled Pepsi as Grey Goose this week. As
Grey Goose, a French vodka, yeah.
Yes. Absolutely fantastic vodka.
Where are we next week?
Was it Monza?
Monza, Italy, Peroni. You can't do Peroni again. You got to find something else for that.
Yeah, I'll find something else. I'm sure there's some really nice Italian wine.
TGM comes across the line. P6, the 129.043. And let's see who else we got on a lap. Endocat aborted his run. Sandeezy is still going.
Trin's also behind Sandeezy, about to start his first and only run.
Yeah, we'll jump on board with the Haas driver. Once Sandeezy sets his time, looking like he's finally going to get one on the board. Just a minute and a half in the session, so this will probably be it, unless he does have enough ERS. If he's got enough fuel and tyre temp, should be able to get another one in if he wants to. Goes P5 though with 128.8. He may not have to go again now. So going to jump on board with Trin. And hopefully he's able to get one on the board here. He's doing some one-shot quali here.
See what Trin can do. He'll be aiming for a very, very, very low 29.1 to be safe.
Well, cutoff is currently at 29.2. Make that a 29.182. As I didn't see who that was, but someone jumped up the standings quite a bit. He's missed the apex there for the right-hander. And it's so tricky in this sequence of corners. If you get one wrong, even the slightest bit, it does affect the rest of them. Does say that he's gone purple in the first sector, but I feel like it's probably just because he hasn't set a time yet. The game's got a bit of a bug when that happens. It comes down to the chicane. Nice turn in there. He's using as much of the curb as he's allowed to. Really nice on the throttle. And the exits are key to get a decent time here around the circuit. Artanis retires. He thinks he's safe, or at least he can't do another lap to get any better. 129.182 is the cutoff time. Everyone outside the 10 is on a lap at the moment. And I think Endocat will be the first to come across the line. And he cannot improve, so he is out of qualifying. P14 at the moment. Trin looking a bit wild through the corners here. Simdogger comes to the pits. He is out of qualifying as well. So we've got a few to go. I think that's combined coming in next. Looking like Trin might be okay here. And he comes across the line and he sets 129.118. What's combined going to do? 129.172.
Oh.
We've got Pondon still on the lap. He's up by 2/10. It's going to be a 129.4. I don't think he's got enough to improve here. He's got to find a few more tenths in this final sector to gain a position. And he's set to 129.297. He's 3 thousandths of a second behind Simdogger there, but unfortunately he is out of qualifying as well. Endocat did not get to set another valid lap in, and he is out as well. And you have the top 10. And we'll go through to qualifying 3, all of them starting on the soft tyre as well.
Top 14 with an 8 tenths again.
Absolutely, it's absolutely mental.
That's so close.
Less than 5 tenths for the top 10. It's 634 down to 118.
I was exactly spot on with 29.1.
Well done, well done. Ekam's coming into the pits. So he was on a flying lap, but I think his teammate told him that he was safe. He comes in.
Yeah. He's doing the smart thing, driving the car in himself, saves the tyres. AI is very, very aggressive on the tyres.
Great. Should get the transition now through to the leaderboard.
Yeah, we got Monza, then Monaco.
Wonderful. Monaco even have a beer that they produce there?
I did have a look. They do a they do like a
You said it again.
they do a Monegasque type beer that has quite a cool name. So I've got something to use.
Wonderful. Can't wait. In the meantime,
Ipsy.
FIBA quickest with a 128.634. Big Al just behind, 400ths of a second, and Mikal a 10th behind the leader as well. So there's your top 3. Trin was the man at risk with a 129.118, but we say goodbye to combined YouTuber Artanis, Simdogger, Ponton, and Endocat. They are out of qualifying, but they will get a free choice of tyre for the race. So you reckon they'll go for the medium to softs? Or medium
Absolutely.
to hard, do you reckon?
I reckon more likely is medium to softs, because if you take the softs later in the race, you can get that fresh set, and because you have less fuel, they can go a little bit longer, so you can probably get about 10 laps out of them.
Well, that's it. It's very weight dependent as well, the tyre weight that you get around this track. So you've noticed that the softs burn out a lot quicker in the first stint compared to if you put them on second. So it's it's going to be an interesting tyre strategy in the race, and as well, if there's a safety car, that's going to mix things up even more. So do we know how long the hard tyre is going to last in the race? What are Pirelli saying there?
I would imagine that the hard tyre is pretty comfortable for about 17-18 laps. Running it longer than that is really going to hurt.
Because that's the other option, is that if there's a lap 1, lap 2 safety car, we might see all the soft runners jump onto the hard tyre to try and go long into the race to get a late safety car for softs, but that will put it probably a bit too much into the medium runner's hands. So
I I don't know if you noticed in Tier 3 or not, because you are obviously driving.
I think I'll hit another bollard.
Obviously...
He's got against the bollards here at Paul Ricard. But anyway, go on.
We obviously didn't have any safety cars in Tier 3, and a lot of drivers were actually complaining on it as towards the end of the race, I was seeing a lot of blinking lights.
Yes, myself as well.
I believe that Farmer Sam actually did run out of fuel on the last straight as well.
As did I. I ran out of fuel, and yeah, I tried to take the chicane run off, and unfortunately got a 10-second penalty for it. Even though I did weave in and out of the bollards, but thankfully no one else was behind me. But yeah, underfueling at France is very risky. I let everyone know that for the race. It's very difficult to save fuel at this track because it is so fast, and if you're not in the DRS train, it is so difficult to save when there's no safety car. So be warned. Try not to go minus at the start unless you are very good at lifting and coasting into the corners.
Either that or just make sure you putt someone off into a wall.
Or have your teammate do it for you.
Even better.
Alright, on board with Big Al in starting the first flying lap in Q3 on the soft tyre. Let's see how he goes.
Ooh, he's not messing around.
Yeah, pretty tight in the first sector. No sign of any instability. Oh, look at how much curve he's taking. You see every millimetre of track he can get away with. A little bit wide. Oh, he's still valid. Still valid. He's all four.
I don't know how that's
that
valid.
That should have been invalid, but the game's saying play on. And we got purple first sector, as you'd expect as the first driver running in Q3. And a very long straight into the chicane. Oh, he uses a lot of curb there as well, gets away with it, and looking very nice through the chicane, really controls the wheel spin on the exit, and that's going to help him all the way down here to the very complex Sector 3. Using a lot of the inside curb there at the fast right-hander. Oh, late, so late on the brakes. Coming into the very long, fast right-hander. And this is looking like a very good lap. He's probably a little bit wide there. Missed the apex slightly for the left-hander. He probably won't be too happy with that one, but it's some place where he can find some time in his next run. Keeps it nice and tight to the left-hand side before he flicks it across to the right. Controlling the wheel spin on the exit again. Keeps it dead straight along the left-hand line to shorten the track distance to the finish line. And what time is it going to be? A 1:29.022. Very solid banker time, but we do know there's some time out there for him to find. Now we've got the Mercedes CJM is going to be next across the line. Looking pretty good so far. So it's a 49.2 at the second sector timing point. And he goes fastest with 128.884. Jump on board with, I think that's going to be Aston Martin of Ekim. No, he's not on a lap, but the Haas of Trin is.
That's a very impressive time by CJM.
Very good time there. I think that's almost as quick as FIBA was in Q2, so very, very good times there, and that's just his banker. And we've got Trin not quite using as much curb as we saw Big Al use, but he flicks it across to the left. He runs a little bit wider than Al did. Keeps it in fourth gear for the final corner, and again, staying close to that left line. He's drifting a little bit inwards. I wonder if it's slightly quicker to go that way, but it's 29.388. And we're going to jump back because we've got both of the McLarens coming across the line. But FIBA does, instead of time, I think he invalidated his first run, but here he goes fastest to the 128.730. We've got the Alfa Romeo of Sandeesi is going to be next across the line, followed by, I think that's going to be Batemate is a little bit further back, and Mick out. And Sandeesi goes third with the 29.017. And is that going to be Mikau next? It is going to be Mikau next. What a guess. And looking pretty good so far. See, he's hugging that right-hand side as much as he can and throws the car into the left-hander. Comes around the final corner. Again, short shifting up to control the wheel spin. And he comes across the line, and he goes second fastest to 28.769. Going to jump on board with Ekim now, and Aston Martin next across the line, followed by Batemate. And Ekim goes P6 for the 29.053, followed by Batemate, setting a 129.039. And I think FIBA is going to be next. Oh, he has a bit of a moment just as we jumped on board there out of the first of the two double apex left-handers, and he has a bit of a slide through the next one, and he misses the apex slightly. The final corner as well is going to hurt his time a little bit. He opens up the DRS, straight lines it across the line, and he goes P9 to 29.442. That was a terrible lap from FIBA.
Yeah, that was
These 7/10 off his teammates. Definitely made a few mistakes in that lap. We got Crush now. He's coming through the final couple of corners. Flicks it across to the left. Hugs the inside nice and tight. And he hits the apex nice at the final corner. Controls the wheel spin nicely. Stays to the left-hand side of the track. And he'll come across the line. I think it's going to be quicker than FIBA. And he is P3 with a 28.828. And that is everyone done for their first stints.
Now, all these drivers will have one more shot, so they should have, since it's Q3, they do get an extra set of softs, so they'll have one shiny set of brand new soft tyres ready to go for their final runs.
Well, Ali just said he must be on a scrub set, so he has done 2 laps on those tyres in this session, and as you say, there could be worn tyres from Q1 as well, so does have a few sets that he can use just to save brand new ones for the end.
I do believe that is definitely a scrubbed set because of that mistake he made in Q2 and he had to run twice.
Absolutely.
So that is a very scrubbed set he's using.
DK on the sticks. This is on PC, on console. So at the moment, Hero is provisional pole with a 28.730. Just 300s behind him is Mikau with a 28.769. Crush and CJM, third and fourth, separated by 600ths of a second. And then we've got Sandeezy and Big Al separated by 5,000ths of a second for 5th place. And Batemate is 100th behind them, and Ekim 100th behind him as well. So currently 3/10 separates the top 8, with Trin and FIBA both making mistakes on their first run. They're a little bit far behind, about 7/10 off the pace, but we have just 7/10 covering this top 10, so it's still anyone's pole position at this stage.
What's even like scarier is that this is not a short lap. Like
No,
it is.
It's one of the
a
longer
90...
laps in the calendar. I think Baku is probably only longer than this, if I'm correct.
Yeah. This is like a 90-second lap, and for them being 7/10 apart on a 90-second lap is just
and a difficult 90-second lap as well. Like this is one of the most technical tracks that we go to on the F1 2021 calendar. So absolutely amazing that these guys are still so close. Absolutely amazing. So we're just following Trin at the moment on his outlap. He's the only car on track at the moment, so I think he'll be fueled up for 2 runs because he set that not really representative time on his first run, so he'll be looking to get the tyres in the nice window and try and have a stress-free run to the checkered flag.
that's about a 0.7% difference in performance.
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts.
It's just terrifyingly close.
Right, 3/10 covers the top 8. That's crazy.
See a Trin burning fuel?
Is that what he's doing, or is that just the bug?
No, he's burning.
Surely that's going to wear the engine, because you do get engine wear during the race.
You do, but it's never enough to actually affect it because you start with 100% on all components, and engine wear only comes into play after a couple of races worth of wear.
Yes. Yep.
So there's no reason not to do this. It just burns fuel quickly. And he's obviously doing it the clever way. He's not riding the brakes or anything like that. All he's doing is just revving the crap out of it.
I don't think Gunther will be happy with him stressing this Ferrari engine as hard as he is, but that's alright.
As long as it doesn't bin it, I don't think Gunther will mind.
Well, everyone out on track except for Crush and CJM at the moment. Still got a couple of minutes left in the session, but we're going to jump on board now with Trin as there's a minute 34 left in the session. So he will... he might have time for 2 laps. Maybe. No. He'll probably get the checkered flag at the end, but CJM has retired. He's done with that 28.8. As Trin, he's absolutely committed to this lap. Misses Apex slightly at the right-hander. You can take a lot of curb there if you positioning the car nicely, but he looks pretty good on traction through here. Very tricky sequence of corners here. Easy to lose the rear of the car. Takes a lot of curb onto the back straight and opens up the DRS. Heading down to the chicane.
It looks so confident through there.
Absolutely, that car looks absolutely planted. Takes a lot of curb into the chicane. Probably ran a little bit wide for his liking, but carries the speed nicely, which will pay him dividends at the end of the next straight. Goes purple in the second sector, up by 3.5 tenths. That's going to put him into the low 29s. He's got to find a little bit more in his final sector, though, if he's going to be competing for the top 5. Yeah, this is looking pretty good from Trin. He's still not using all of that track on the right-hand side, so I wonder if that's where he's losing a bit of time in his final sector. And he's always missed the apex of the final corner. He's run a bit deep. And that's going to have washed off all that time.
That's all his time.
He knows it. He knows it. A little bit of a wobble there on the straight. Goes to check a flag. Improves by 2.5 tenths, but does not gain a position. It's very, very
Phoebus
unfortunate.
Phoebus of the wall.
Phoebus crashed before sector 2. He is done.
Turn 5.
Jump on board. So Phoebus will start at P10. Trin at P9. Big Al comes around the final corner. And what's this going to be? Is he going to get into the 28s?
We both missed it. Batemate just gave Mikhail a very, very, very nice toe down the back straight.
28.748 for Big Al goes P2, and that's him done. Going to jump on board with Hero, who's currently down by 500ths a second, as Ekim gets disqualified for going the wrong way. I don't know what the Aston Martin was doing, but he is now going to be 10. Or is he going to be?
He's spun.
Is he going to be out of qualifying altogether, or is he just out of Q3? Because that could put him to the back of the grid altogether.
Just out of Q3, he'll be 10th.
Hopefully. Hero is going to come across the line. He was basically matching his delta. And he comes across the checkered flag. Improves by 900ths a second. Goes to 128.639. And jump on board with Mikau, who's going to be next across the line. Opens up the DRS as Bailey comes to the pits. His job is done, towing his teammate. And he goes P2 with the 28.667.
Oh.
It's just 2.5 hundredths of a second. Jump on board with Sandeezy now, who's going to be next across the line. And he improves by 2 tenths with 28.818, goes P4, but jumping on board with Crusher, who's next across the line, he's up by 600ths as well. And he will set at 128.731, he goes P3. Wow.
What a session.
What a mega Q3. Hero takes pole with a 128.639, less than 300ths a second behind him is Mikau on P2, and P3 for Crush. Just a 10th off pole position with a 128.731. And just 17 thousandths of a second in front of P4.
That is so close. That gap is non-existent between these drivers.
Well done to Heroes here. Big Al dropped down to P4, just a 10th off pole, with Sandeezy just behind him as well. 700ths behind Big Al, in fact. And just 700ths as well in front of CJM. About 10.5 further back is Batemate in P7. 10th behind him is Trin. And not setting a representative time as Feber down at P9 with a 29.442. Disappointment there for Ekim, who looks like he got disqualified for going the wrong way. So he exceeded track limits before that. So I think you're right. I think he must have had a bit of a spin. Maybe ran a bit wide of the curb. And that it looked like he was in the technical section at the start of Sector 2. And I wonder if he's just had a bit of a spin. And as he was trying to flick turn the car the right way, the game's deemed that to be illegal. And unfortunately, he, at the very best, will be starting P10, but I certainly hope he hasn't been disqualified from qualifying altogether, which will put him down to P19.
Yeah, I think she should be fine. That is so important for you as well. As a solid get on.
Has he got pole every single race?
I don't know.
Surely someone else has done pole.
Someone
yeah, we need to fact check.
We have had a couple of different polls, but I think that's been on a bit of a streak recently. Can someone confirm?
Pit confirm. Alright, just waiting for the drivers to confirm their strategies. So top 10 all going to be starting on the soft tyres. Thank you for the follow, DK on the sticks. Thank you for joining us for Aussie Formula Racing here. Season 8, Round 8, the French Grand Prix. F1 2021 is the final season on F1 2021 with the new game coming out on July 2nd, I believe. So switching over to that in not too long. It's only just over a month away, so I'm looking forward to that. A bit of VR in official F1 game. It'd be interesting to see how that works.
I just did a Martin Brundle and did a bit of a pit walk.
Did you
A
get
grid walk, sorry.
ignored by some celebrities? Have any cringeworthy conversations?
Oh, dude, Will Smith just snubbed me, eh?
Oh, but he'd be happy that's all he did to you. So.
No, I had a chat to FIBA just before the race. He's feeling good for it. Unfortunately, his pole streak is broken, and he did say it was 8 in a row.
8 in a row, wow. Unfortunate.
As I said, and then Potsy goes and screws me. Everyone outside the top 10 is on mediums, except Potsy's going for the hards.
Yeah, so it looks like everyone outside the top 10 going for either medium or hard to soft strategy, I would say, and then everyone in the top 10 going soft, either to hard or to medium, depending how long they can stretch those soft tyres. But
I do think it's going to be a bit of a mix-up. We'll see a couple of guys jump a bit. Like, you'll see some of the soft runners going to mediums or hards, and then vice versa with the medium runners.
Absolutely, and it's going to be a crazy race, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a safety car or two.
Potsy actually playing this potentially really smart. If there's a safety car sort of between, say, lap 6 and maybe 13, that's not really going to benefit. It's going to benefit the soft runners, but not the medium runners at all. Whereas if there's one a little bit later in the race, everyone is screwed except Potsy.
Yeah,
if you have one from around like lap between like say 14 and 20, then that catches everyone out except for Potsy. He'll be in the perfect window for that.
Definitely will. As drivers coming into sector 3 now, so not too far away from the start of the race. Ekem is starting P10, so he was only disqualified from Q3, so not from the whole of qualifying. There we go, drivers forming up on the grid now. What's your predictions for the podium, Psycho?
I'm going to go a little unorthodox here. I'm going to say it's going to be Hero, Mikhail, FIBA. I think FIBA's going to claw it back.
Okay. I'm going to go Mikhail for the win, Big Al P2, and I reckon Crush is going to get a podium as well.
Be nice to see Crush up there. He's had some really good races. He's had some bad luck as well, so it'd be good to get him back.
Yeah, great qualifying from him though, so this is giving himself the best opportunity to get a decent result, so hopefully he makes the most of it. We go, the lights are coming on. And we're away, very short light sequence, but we are go. And it looks like everyone's had a pretty solid start. FIBA had a really good start in the midfield. You can see he's already moving up behind the Alpha Tauri.
Mikhail.
And Mikhail as well, looking for a little bit of a move around the outside of Hero, but he's not able to get it done. The Alpine and the Ferrari going side by side as well. Looks like it's pretty clean. Oh no, FIBA's got around. FIBA's got around. Looks like a Ferrari's lost a wing. And there was definitely damage there. I think there's an Aston Martin in the wall as well. It's just recovering from that too. But, FIBA again.
Trin is missing half his wing.
Trin is missing an end plate. Oh, terrible. He's had a terrible run of luck as the Haas driver since last season, in fact. And always had a bit of contact with the Alfa Romeo as well. And the Alpine goes flying around him. Let's bring up what's happened with the track, with the positions.
I actually think that Trin and Bate made contact again.
Oh, they are not going to be too happy with each other. As you see, Potsy and Combine used to be going side by side through the chicane. But you see there, Ekem's made up 3 places since the start. Artanis up 4, but Bate down 2. And I think you're right. That looks like he's lost out a bit of position there from that early contact. Potsy up 6 positions, up to P11. Pondon up 4 as well. Captain of Gold and Apollo Pepsi both up 5. Great stuff from Apollo Pepsi up to 14th place. And a mega start from them. But Trin down 10 places, FIBA down 8, and Simdogger down 6. So Simdogger was the Aston Martin in the wall.
Potsy is flying.
Absolutely, he is. As we complete the first lap, Hero in the lead, followed by Mikhail, followed by Crush, Big Al P4 as well, Sandeezy up to P5. So you see Trin coming to the pits to get that front wing replaced. A very unfortunate start to the race for him, but hopefully there will be a safety car to recover a little bit of points for him towards the end, but so disappointed for him again.
Well, at least he's not alone. Sim's with him.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure he wishes that Batemate was in the pits with him as well, but that's just how it unravels sometimes.
very, very true.
So they're both onto the hard tyres, so it looks like they're going to go as deep into the race as possible and maybe chuck on the mediums if there's a timely safety car around about that window you were talking about before.
Yeah, I think it's what they're planning on doing. Just highlighting Potsy, he's doing a phenomenal job, made a lot of positions at the start there, and he's keeping with these medium/soft runners really well at the moment. If he can keep up with the medium runners until lap 4 or 5, his tyres should start feeling better than theirs.
Absolutely, as you see Hero going very defensive into the double right-hander. Mikau not able to get a look in, as you see FIBA overtaking T-Mac for P15. T-Mac, of course, a bit under the weather this weekend. Really top effort from him to show up and still put in his best. Currently sitting down in 16th, just 2 positions out of the points.
Oh, there is not much separating these front runners.
Absolutely. Everyone's still within DRS of each other. Andocat's the only driver not in the train apart from Trinity Simdogger, who caught up in that lap 1 incident. As Big Al sets the fastest lap of the race as DRS is enabled, but FIBA also setting a 132.408 down in 15th. Looks like he's showing quite a bit of pace, even though he's had that drama on the opening lap.
I think Crush is going to get swamped. He's the only one burning ERS at the moment to try and keep up with Mikau and Hero, and Big Al is on his tail.
Yeah, it's the thing with Crush. He's got such rapid single lap pace, but it just looks like his race pace is a little bit lacking and has to use the ERS to stay with the front runners. But hopefully he's able to just save a little now that he's got DRS. Mikau has a little bit of a look into the chicane, decides better of it. Might see a little bit of gamesmanship as drivers jockey for position. Try not to lose DRS, because if you are in front, then you are going to be quite vulnerable. Jumping on board with Big Al, who's trying to have a look at Crush, who's going very defensive. And Mikau as well tucks right in behind Hero, not deciding to make a move this time around, but I feel like there's probably going to be a move happen soon if Mikau feels he's being held up too much. Imagine the dirty air, the soft tyres are going to be a little bit more worn with the aero wash coming off Hero in front.
Yeah, it absolutely does make a difference to you. Your rears tend to slide more when you're following your car, especially in that third sector where you have all those swooping corners. It's really not good for you.
Well, here's Big Al having a look at Crush now. He's tucked in right behind his gearbox. He goes to the outside, the Ferrari covering the inside. But it looks like Crush positioned the car nicely and holds on to position there. Mikau has a pretty decent run on Hero here, but I don't think he's going to make a move. He does go for the inside and makes a big lunge. Oh, so they go side by side, wheel to wheel.
Oh, Sandy's spun Crush.
Oh, Crush knows had a big spin for the back.
Oh, someone's
Sandeezy's
DNF.
out. Yep, Sandeezy's out. CJM crashed into the back of him as well. Crush is still running, but he's pointing the wrong way. And it looks like CJM has lost an end plate. I'm not sure about Andocat. Andocat looks like he's okay. As Potsy Tanis changing positions as well. Mikau and Hero still going at it down to the chicane. As Batemate and Ekem change positions as well. And it's a real shame. Crush is looking really good there. FIBA makes it past Captain of Gold as well. But Sandeezy is done. Looks like he may have crashed into the stationary car as they came through that technical section. Not much time to react there. And that's,
that was
very unfortunate.
Purely on Sandeezy. He had a look when he shouldn't have. Tapped Crush spun, and then their wheels just interlocked, and Sandeezy just broke off.
It's a real shame. Crush looks like he got a bit of wing damage as well.
I believe he would.
Yeah, it doesn't look. It looks all right from the outside, but unfortunately, it looks like the damage. But with all that excitement, it looks like Mikau's got past Hero, so it's Mikau, Hero, Big Al. As I think FIBA and Combined going side by side as well through the final corner. FIBA gets the move done.
I think Mikau has the overall pace here. He has a lot more ERS than Hero and Big Al.
Yeah, got Ali in the chat saying Mikau's car is jumping around, so a little bit of lag potentially from the Alpha Tauri. You see Big Al all over the back of Hero. They're putting a lot of pressure onto the McLaren driver.
Hero slid the rears out at turn 2.
As Polypepsi picks up the first penalty of the day. 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limit. CJM onto the hard tyres as well, so he lost that front wing in that incident last lap.
Looks like Pepsi's had too much Grey Goose.
Hero having a little bit of a look at Mikau at the chicane, but nothing doing at the moment. See Simdog and CJM change positions as CJM comes out of the pits. Having a little bit further back up the field, Artanis is a very good run on Potsy here, heading into the right-hander. He's got overlap now. Is he going to make a move onto him? And Potsy has to yield. And good move there from Artanis.
It's well played by Potsy yielding there. It's better for the long run because you do not want to lose that DRS train. It's just not worth it.
Absolutely. I mean, Potsy's already made an amazing start on those hard tyres, and but as the soft runners get into a rhythm, they are going to be quicker than him for the first 5 or so laps. So he just needs to play the long game, just stay in that DRS, get a tow along, and just play that patient waiting game. There'll be a safety car a bit later on, I'm sure. And he'll pay dividends towards the end as we see Hero and Big Al both having a look on Mikau, and Hero's got the move done. He's run a little bit deep, though. It's going to compromise his exit out of the second corner, and Mikau's got a very good run on him. He'll go for a move here into the next corner, and he's got it done. Hero has to slip in behind Big Al, as he always does, patiently waiting behind. And he'll just be biding his time here now. Mikau won't have DRS here, so he could be vulnerable to Hero, but Hero just dropping off a little bit through those technical corners there at the start of Sector 2. And it's just dropped back a little bit now. He's about 3/10 behind Mikau. Might have enough pace, though, to have a look down the inside into the chicane. And he does just get in front before the braking zone, so that move is his. Mikau slips in behind, and I don't think he'll be too fussed about that because they will be leapfrogging each other as long as they're within DRS of each other. But Mikau's got a good run out of the chicane. Hero looks like he's struggling a bit out of there with traction. He has to tuck in, but he's actually going defensive against Big Al, who's got a little bit of a run on him as well. But as they go into the double right-hander, Big Al, ever patient, just waiting for his moment to pounce. And we've seen him do it so many times in the past.
Mikau really compromising Hero's line.
Absolutely. He's going for, I'd say to probably fake moves a little bit, just trying to put off Hero just a bit, as you say, get him off his racing line. And it's going to compromise him.
Hero and Big Al in the pits. Yep.
There we go.
They're going for the hards.
Mikau stays out. Hero, Big Al. Oh, there we go. They're all jumping around. So I'll jump up onto the tyres, see what everyone's doing at the moment. A lot of action at the moment. So Batemate, Hero, Big Al, and Ekam all coming into the pits. As you say, they're all onto the hard tyres to crush up to P11 after that spin a little bit earlier. And Mikau now 3 seconds clear of Pondon, who's got a little bit of a train behind him, all the way down to P9.
It'll be all up to this outlap now. Mikau's obviously pushing as hard as he's ever been using that ERS. And
he's in the clean air now, and I imagine those hard tyres are going to take a little bit to warm up, so he's probably got a good lap or two before he has to respond, as Potsy's going for a move on Pondon here into the chicane, is side by side, and Potsy runs very deep, but he does get the move done cleanly, and he moves up into P2. Great start to the race from Potsy.
Pondon's not taking that line down.
Well, he's got the fresher medium tyres, so he should have the pace, but Potsy driving that Red Bull out of its skin.
He's also driving his battery to the very limits.
Absolutely, sitting on 13%, so he's definitely using a lot of it to make his way through the field as Artanis picks up 3-second penalty. So he's currently in P4, so that's going to hurt him a little bit here, as they're well and truly in the DRS train here behind P2.
Mikau still doesn't pit. I think he's going to go for the mediums.
Well, if he can make it to around about lap 11 or 12 on the soft tyres, he should comfortably get onto the mediums from here. Maybe he goes a little bit earlier just to cover off the hards, who will be a little bit quicker than him at the moment now that the softs are starting to drop off.
Yeah.
As Crush comes into the pits from P11, he's on those 6-lap-old soft tyres. Expect him to go onto the hards as well.
I think what he's possibly also betting on is the fact that Hero and Big Al aren't going to be friendly towards each other. They will be fighting for position, and that'll cost him time.
Yeah.
So he's possibly banking on the fact that he might have a bit of pace up his sleeve.
Big Al's a little bit more calculated than that, though. I expect him not to put up much of a fight because he'll be towed along by Hero, and Hero's in clean air. He's got 13.5 seconds to Undercat as Potsy makes a move on Pondon again in the DRS zone, and this time I think he's got a well and truly settled. He doesn't run deep into the corner this time, so he'll have a much better run into the next one. But yeah, 13.5 seconds between Hero and Undercat. So Big Al, if he's patient, He can just sit behind Hero here, just get a tow along, but he's actually going for the move as we speak. He's not being patient at all. And this may come back to hurt them if they're battling too much. Then that will help Mikau stay out on those sauce for a little bit longer.
Potsy and Pondon are still battling non-stop. It's a very respectful time for both of them, both leaving each other plenty of room. But yeah, they're going for it.
Absolutely. So we've still got this train now from second down to ninth. As FIBA sped into the pits. FIBA. Oh, no. So it's a 5-second penalty for the McLaren driver. And after that early spin, he was looking like he was making his way through the field. And unfortunately, he's picked up a penalty. And that is going to hurt him big time at the end of the race. Thank you very much for the follow, Mr. Beam. Hope you're enjoying the coverage here. Nearly a third of the way through the race at the moment. As Artanis and Pondon switcheroo, looks like the Williams pit wall. Thinking maybe Artanis is going to be able to get past Potsy. You see FIBA dropping down to 14th place as he chucks on the medium tyres. So FIBA reckons he can go 18 laps on the mediums.
He definitely can. But it's hard. It's going to hurt.
Well, he's come out behind a number of hard runners. So for the next few laps at least, he'll be quicker than him on pace. So he'll... definitely make his best effort to get through those as quickly as possible.
I think Mikau has to respond now because Big Al is setting fastest laps.
Oh,
so.
Apollo Pepsi spun at the exit of the chicane. Looks like his wing's intact.
Didn't you predict that?
No, I predicted at the start of the back straight. So as Tanis and Potsy going side by side, as Combined and Captain of Gold go side by side as well. Looks like Tanis has won this battle, but Captain of Gold still down the inside of Combined. YouTube, he runs very wide out into the weeds, and I think he's picked up a few marbles there, and he's just had to back out a little bit. He's got a decent run on Captain of Gold, but not enough track into the next couple of corners, which is single file only. To say that though, Potsy and Artanis still having a go at each other as Artanis moves up to P2, and it doesn't have DRS, so it's going to be very vulnerable as Mikau did pit, so we missed that while we're following this battle. Mikau is in the pit, and is he onto the medium tyres?
Yep.
He's onto the medium, so wonder where that's going to put him. Big Al coming on to the pit straight now. Mikau coming out of the pits. They'll feed in just behind these two. And is he going to be clear of Ekem? It looks like he will come out in front of his teammate there. So Mikau in front of Batemate, just 2 seconds behind Hero and Big Al, who are on the hard tyres. So we expect Mikau to make short work of them in the next few laps.
I'd say Mikau's played that very, very well. All he needs to do is burn ERS, make up that second gap, and he's back in the fight.
Absolutely. He does have FIBA. Oh, so there's contact a little bit between FIBA and Ekem there, looked like it. But yeah, FIBA currently P14 stuck in a little bit of traffic at the moment because Ekem's going to have DRS on the back of Batemate, who has dropped off his teammate already. And I wonder if that's just going to hurt FIBA a little bit. He does manage to get through the Aston Martin.
Potsy and Jackson have been side by side for this entire lap.
They have. And they're still battling through the double apex right-hander, but it looks like Potsy has regained the lead. And a mega stint here from Potsy so far, out in the lead of the race on those 9-lap-old hards. He started 17th. Amazing start to the race from Potsy.
When Mikau pit, he was only 3.5 seconds behind him. So these guys in the clean air, even though they're fighting, they are just absolutely pulling away. Like they're going to come out P5, P6.
Well, at the moment, there's a train from first down to 6th, and then Anacat's in a bit of a race of his own at the moment as Potsy and Artanis change places again. Artanis getting the lead down at turn 1. Yeah, there's a bit of
Batemate.
Bieber got Batemate indeed. Yeah, so train down to P6, and then Endercat and Apollo Pepsi kind of in a race of their own at the moment. Hero has Big Al and Mikau for company, as you see Ekem and Batemate changing places as well going into turn 1. So looks like Ekem and FIBA trying to make as much ground as they possibly can. Ekem will be trying to stick with FIBA. He's on the fresher medium tyres, so you want to get a bit of a tow away from Batemate if you can, as Potsy and Artanis again changing places heading into the chicane. And I feel like this battle is going to go on for quite some time. Neither of those guys have pit yet. Expect them to come in around about lap 17, a little bit after, depending when there's if there's any safety cars going on.
Mikau's in DRS now.
He is indeed. So we've got a little train. These are our effective race leaders. So they are the lead cars out of those who have pit. So Hero leads Big Al and Mikau with FIBA. Just 2.5 seconds down the road as we see Big Al make a move on Hero, heading into the right-hander at the end of the straight. Oh, looked like carrying a lot of speed there. Hero having to open up the steering a little bit to let him through. Oh, and Hero runs out very wide. I expect him to get a warning for that one.
These guys are going to hit traffic before the traffic pits, I think. So that'll spice things up a little bit.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for the follow, Mickey. Hope you're enjoying the coverage. This Phoebe sets the fastest lap of the race so far with 1:32.090.
Fly in chat. Yeah, soft medium is the best strategy if you can make the tyres last. It's very risky to do because the tyres are very slippery at the end, so you need to have exceptional car control to even consider it.
Artanis leapfrogs Potsy again coming to the chicane. I feel like this is going to be at least for the next 5 laps or so, probably going to be what we see every single lap.
Probably. Both of them also having absolutely no battery left. They're just, as soon as they get any energy, they immediately use it.
That's it. Potsy darts to the inside. He looks like he's going to try and have a little bit of a move on Artanis. And I think he's got it done. No.
No.
Oh, a bit of wheel banging there as Artanis stays around the outside, which becomes the inside for the next corner. Oh, he pushes the Red Bull right up onto the curb, but he's got the inside now for the next corner. And that does become Artanis' inside, but I think... Oh, Artanis is coming to the pits. So 15 laps to go. Is he going on to the hards from here?
He would have to. Yeah, so this is the other strat that's also really good. You sort of run until about 10, 11 and then pit on the mediums for hards, and it's the safest strategy as far as just keeping the car under control goes.
So Artanis opting for hards. There he goes. So Potsy, we know, is probably going to the mediums, unless he can stretch the hards right out to the softs at the end. But it depends if there's a safety car or not.
Yeah, so obviously from those medium runners, Potsy can't do that. He has to obviously run long. From the medium runners, Jackson has made the first call to swap to the hards, so it'll be either this lap or next lap where the other guys will jump over to the hards, or they're going to stay out until that 17, 18 and then go for the softs.
Have a look at Mikau, and oh, it's Hero. So Hero's got a little bit of a toe on Big Al, but Mikau's got the inside line into the chicane. They're side by side. Oh, there's a bit of wheel banging there between the two, and Mikau looks like he got forced up onto the curb and nearly sacrificed his speed out of the corner, but he's able to maintain that position, and Hero drops back into 10th, and Fever there in the background, just 2.5 seconds behind, so don't discount him just yet.
Fever is so rapid, he just makes really silly mistakes. Oh, Potsy in the pits?
Potsy's coming to the pits, so expect him onto the medium tyres from here. Yeah, 14 laps, easy.
Yeah, so he's doing the opposite of Jackson.
Yeah, so it looks like he's probably covering off that undercut. Doesn't want to risk running too late, but I feel like with the hard tyres, surely he would have been able to go a bit longer and maybe hope for a safety car. Which could have put him straight onto the softs.
He could absolutely have, but yeah, I think you're right. He's just trying to cover that undercut. Otherwise, he would have ran longer. Even to go on the mediums, he would have ran a little bit longer.
Here we go. They're coming out side by side into turn 1, and Artanis has just jumped Potsy. And
to be honest, though, knowing Potsy's not fighting for a championship.
No.
He's just
he found great fun battling Artanis all race long. So
yeah, he's just here to have fun. He found someone his own pace, and he's just enjoying himself.
Absolutely, which is what AFR's all about, to be honest. As Mikau gets a bit of a run on Big Al heading into the chicane, and this is for the effective lead of the race. So these are the lead cars who have pitted. And Mikau up into P6 as Potsy and Artanis changing positions again. Potsy up to P12, Artanis 13th. But I expect with Potsy being on the fresh mediums, he should be able to pull away from Artanis pretty comfortably.
I am going to make the prediction now and say that Big Al won't see Mikau again.
Well, Mikau full lap old medium, so he should have the pace advantage here, but they've just caught Pepsi, so that should give Mikau DRS on the pit straight, and that might be enough for him to break DRS of Hero. Oh, sorry, Big Al. Whoa, is my screen is just deciding to change randomly.
Ew. Looks like a button on your keyboard is being pressed.
Possibly.
Yep, so Mikhail's made it past Pepsi. Big Al will not make it past Pepsi yet, so that's going to hold him up a little bit. If you can hold him up just enough for Mikhail to get a gap.
Absolutely, that's what I was trying to say before my computer decided to get a bit weird on me. But it looks like Big Al's been able to storm past Hero, though, caught behind Apollo Pepsi here. Big Al 8/10 behind. He should get DRS, though. The detection point is coming up. What's it going to be? 9.69, 1.01. Is he going to get it?
No!
He hasn't got it, so Mikau has broken DRS from Big Al, and I think that's see you later from the AlphaTauri. He's on the fresher tyre, on the softer tyre, and Big Al's now under pressure from Hero, so these guys are going to be battling now for what is effectively P2 of this race.
Yep, that's it. As long as Mikau doesn't make a mistake, he is gone. Look at him, he's soaring away.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he's using a fair bit of he's down to 6% ERS. He definitely was using overtake to pull away. Big Al goes down the inside of Hero as well into the right-hander. So the Alpine looking very slippery in a straight line. Didn't even need DRS to get past the McLaren again. But 1.3 seconds is now the gap between him and Mikau. And Big Al as well, down to 20% ERS. So it looks like these guys are using absolutely everything they've got to try and keep within a short distance of each other. Now, Potsy has cleared Eckham as well, so he's broken DRS of Artanis as Andercat picks up a 3-second penalty for exceeding track limits. Potsy looks like he's on a charge to get back into the points as he's within DRS of Batemate, and it should make light work of the AlphaTauri coming into turn 1.
In race pace, DRS is about 7 or 8 tenths a lap. So yeah, you'll see Mikau just absolutely fly away now that he's broken that DRS. DRS is so powerful around here. So
Potsy up to P10 as Simdogger picks up a 3-second time penalty. Apollo Pepsi picks up another 3-second time penalty. So Potsy into the points now.
Dirty drivers.
Alright, so we are into lap 16 of 27 at the moment. And Captain of Gold leads the race, but he and the 3 cars behind him have yet to pit as FIBA overtakes Apollo Pepsi on the main straight down into the chicane as Big Al and Hero continue to battle it out for P6.
Those mediums are so rapid compared to the hards. FIBA is catching
Got a
Hero at a
yellow
rate of
flag
knots.
in Sector 1. Simdogger's had a little bit of a spin. The end of Sector 1, start of Sector 2. Looks like the car is intact, but those hard tyres might be a little bit worse for wear. It's been on them since the opening lap when he had that little tangle with Trin. And unfortunately, he's dropped a bit further back. Hopefully for his sake that there's a safety car as T-Mac has peeled off into the pits. So he will be on to, you think the soft tyre from here? 11 laps to go?
Yep, better be the soft.
There we go. So watch T-Mac come back through the field on those fresh tyres. Apollo Pepsi pits as well. And he sped into the pits as well. This is not one of Pepsi's favourite tracks, I must say.
So Hero had a bit of a slip in the 3rd sector and it's cost him a ton of time. So FIBA is now within DRS.
And on the fresher, softer tyres as well, do you think you're going to have a message from the pit wall to swap those positions around? Hero's pretty close behind Big Al though, so I don't know if you're going to want to change positions just yet.
Knowing how these McLarens drive, I don't believe there'll be any team orders. But FIBA doing an amazing job from all that chaos to somehow get back to essentially what is net P4. And Potsy
He does have a 5-second penalty though, so Potsy is within that 5-second gap, so he may jump FIBA at the end of this race if he can stay with him.
Yeah, and Potsy doing I think a much better job. Starting way further back to do what he's done. Also spending half the race side by side with another car and still looking at a
He's
P4
absolutely
finish.
rapid. When he's on his day, Potsy is absolutely rapid. So glad to have him back here reserving tonight.
Isn't that classic Potsy though? He can't qualify to save his life, qualifies P17, and then nearly ends up on the podium.
Well, as we see Captain of Gold, Ponton and combined YouTuber peel off to the pits. They're the last of our drivers who have yet to pit, and this will correct the order. So Mikhail will take the lead of the race from Big Al, from Hero, from FIBA, with Potsy not that far behind it. He's got a gaggle of cars with him as well. Mate Ekem and Artanis on the hard tyres. And Artanis is closed up on them very quickly, and he's on much fresher tyres as well. So expect him to try and push to get well inside the points from there.
Yeah, now we should have our net race positions sorted, barring any safety cars. I think that's pretty much.
So T-Mac with pitting that lap earlier has jumped Captain Gold, Ponton, and combined YouTuber. So really good work there from T-Mac getting the undercut to work, but he's going to be a little bit vulnerable here from Captain of Gold, who going to have a pretty decent run on him there. So the two McLarens, line astern, Bieber going to the inside of the chicane. Big Al just in front of them there. And side by side through the chicane. Whoa, a bit of argy-bargy there from Hero. FIBA getting right out of the throttle to avoid contact as we see Captain of Gold make that move on T-Mac. So T-Mac drops the position down. Looks like Ponton's made it past combined YouTuber as well.
The McLarens are still side by side.
Still side by side. Looks like FIBA has got the move done now, though. Those fresher tyres are going to help him close the gap back up to Big Al. It's already down to 4/10. But look at Mikau, 2.7 second lead at the moment, and he's still pulling away.
Yeah, no, he's off into the sunset. But yeah, the smart thing now would be, especially considering FIBA has that pen, Hero should just tuck in behind and just do what he can. Because Potsy is closing that gap pretty rapidly, and he's on much fresher tyres than anyone in front of him.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for the follow, Nikki. Hope you're enjoying the coverage. Got 8 laps to go in this race, so keep an eye on those soft runners. They will be so rapid, and expect them to make up a few positions before the end of the race. T-Mac already setting the fastest lap of the race with a 1:31.638.
With that 5-second time penalty, it is really crucial that Bait does not lose DRS to Potsy, because at this stage, he's pretty close to being within that 5 seconds of FIBA.
Absolutely. I'll bring up what the overall gap is from the leader. So FIBA 3.3 seconds behind the leader, and 5-second penalty will take him down to 8.2. So at the moment, Baitmate is outside that by about 0.4 of a second, as FIBA going for a move on Big Al here, and he gets the overtake done. It's a bit deep though, so that may compromise his line out of the corner. And we've seen Big Al so good out of this corner. And he's got a nice toe. You can see FIBA's ERS light flashing, but I don't think FIBA's got the pace. He's tucked in right behind the McLaren's gearbox. Oh, gives him a tap as well. He's not able to get the move done. Jumping back to Captain of Gold's made the move on Ekem as well. And he's up into P8.
Big Al just making sure the FIBA knows he's still there.
Absolutely, a bit of Morse code on the back of the car.
Oh, FIBA runs so wide.
Go, commencing lap 20 of 27, getting towards the end of this race. And I feel there's a little bit left in store here with Sector 3, yellow flag. Looks like Apollo Pepsi's had a bit of a spin. And no damage. There's a lot of runoff here at France, but those tyres are going to be pretty cooked. As Captain of Gold, Natan has changed places, so does T-Mac and Ekem. T-Mac into the points, P9 at the moment. Really solid effort from him after feeling a bit unwell this week, so kudos to him.
Yeah, it'd be excellent if he can get points after the week he's had. That's obviously what he's gunning for.
Pondon and Ekem going side by side, both with DRS, but looks like Pondon may have the advantage. Slots in front of the Aston Martin and takes the final points paying position.
I think Bait is currently just inside of that window.
I think he's right on the cusp of it. I don't think he's quite inside, but it is very, very close. He's going to hope Potsy makes a bit of a wriggle on now. 3.9 seconds behind Hero.
Yeah, you're right. It's about 3/10 out of it. Uber's got to hurry it up if he wants to keep him behind. Don't know how he can though. Big Al and Hero have both saved some ERS, and they are coming for him.
Here goes T-Mac on Artanis now. He's got the racing line into turn 1. And with DRS, he's able to freeze past the Williams. And it's P8 now for the Alpine. And he's almost in DRS range of Captain Gold in front, who has an 8-second penalty. So, great race so far for T-Mac. He's almost part of this train behind Popsy for P5.
Both Alpines doing really well at the home race.
Absolutely. Alpine in action.
Speaking of Alpine, Big Al is... Oh, I thought he was going to make a dive there. That was close.
Well, T-Mac without DRS is a bit vulnerable now to the 2 Williams drivers. Ponton going to the inside of his teammate Artanis, but T-Mac able to stay in front. And Williams guys got to be careful here that they don't cost each other too much time, or they'll lose track of T-Mac. As Captain of Gold making a move on Baitmate down the inside. And up to P6 as Big Al and Feebar swap positions as well. Looks like...
Smart by Baitmate not to fight that.
Now Feebar quite vulnerable to Hero as well. I wonder if those mediums are starting to drop off a little bit.
They would be by now. The next couple of laps are going to be difficult. This is usually where you'd want to swap off of them. So they're going to start hurting a bit. Potsy's, though, would be firing on all cylinders at the moment.
Well, Feebar's losing a fair bit of time here, and you can see Potsy 3.7 seconds to Hero now. Captain of Gold looks like he's actually making a move on him. And
Soft.
He's got it done. Yep, the soft's really working for him, but he's got 8 seconds of penalty, so he needs to get a wriggle on. Pull a bit of a gap from the guys behind.
Potsy needs to not fight this too hard. He can't lose too much time, or else he'll lose out to Feebar.
Well, this might actually help Potsy and Baitmate close the gap to Feebar to try and gain some track position post-race with that 5-second penalty of his. As we see, T-Mac and Pondon swapping places. As Potsy tries to stay with Captain of Gold, who's dropping that gap very rapidly to Hero, 3.7 seconds and decreasing as it goes up to 3.8. Well done.
Very stable gap.
Potsy's so close behind Captain of Gold. He's still got life in those medium tyres.
It does look like the mediums... Miko's still doing alright, but Feebar's mediums, I think, are dying. He's dropped off Big Al a bit, and Hero's right on his tail.
Yeah, so keep an eye on the gap between Mikau and Big Al. So 3.8 seconds at the moment. If it drops at all, then it could show that Mikau's tyres are starting to fade. It's very difficult to manage the soft-medium strategy here at France, but Mikau doing a very good job, and he's well out front, so he doesn't have any dirty air to contend with. Ponton having a little bit of a move, and we've got a yellow flag. Looks like a Mercedes has gone around. I think that's CJM. Has had a bit of a spin in Sector 3. Trenton was going past him at the time. Not sure if there's contact or if CJM just dropped it on his own, but kept it out of the wall, and he is still pointing the right way. And he'll continue on. Just cool those tyres down for a little bit before pushing too hard.
Hero will overtake Feebar.
There it goes down the inside, and so much more speed from Hero compared to Big Al in the braking zone. As Potsy and Captain of Gold swapping places again. Looks like Hero's got a good run on Big Al here as well. So on the inside, he doesn't quite have overlap yet. Is he going to get far up enough?
He is.
He is, yeah. He's up into P2, not quite. Oh, he gets a big squeeze from the Alpine. A little bit of contact between the two. Runs Big Al out wide. And Hero up into P2. Now Feebar all over the back of the Alpine. Just 4 laps remaining.
That's costing Feebar so much time. Potsy is now 3.5 seconds behind, so that means Captain of Gold is well within.
Yeah, Mikau extends the gap to over 4 seconds down as well. He is losing a bit of time on the straights though, so I wonder if he's just losing a bit of traction coming out of the corners, and that's hurting his exit speeds just a little bit.
Mate needs to push. He's nearly lost DRS. If he loses DRS, I think it's all over for him.
Captain of Gold and Potsy swapping positions again. 3.5 seconds is the gap between Feebar and Captain of Gold.
Cap does have that penalty, so that kind of puts him out of contention.
Batemate is within range, so that's 3.6, 3.9. Yeah, 4.6 seconds to Batemate, so he is going to gain position off FIBA here. FIBA is starting to drop back a little bit. He's closing in on the back of Big Al, though. Who I wonder if Big Al's tyres are just starting to fade because he's losing a lot of ground to the two McLarens.
Bieber goes so deep to try and take that position off Big Al, making a lot of contact there.
Oh, they've
These guys are
interlocked
gonna
tyres.
crash.
They've interlocked tyres. Oh, they're banging wheels on the straight. Big Al's
They're gonna
in
crash.
front. Oh, Big Al leaves just enough space in the exit, but he's got the inside line here. They're still interlocked. Big Al trying to run him out a little bit wide, but he's got the inside line and does maintain that position of P3. But look at that, he's out of range of Hero now, so he's dropped DRS to the other McLaren, and maybe that was FIBA's player. Maybe he was just going to make it as difficult as possible for Big Al to keep P3 to protect his teammate and get him P2.
I'd say that's definitely the plan. FIBA, though, is using absolutely everything. He's got nothing left in the tank, and I think those tyres are pretty done as well.
Absolutely. And jumping back, Potsy looks like he's going to make another move on Captain of Gold into turn 1, and he gets it done up to P5.
I think those medium tyres are pretty much finished because Mikau lost half a second to Hero.
We said the other lap he was 4 seconds clear. It's down to 3.3 now to Hero, so he's definitely starting to lose pace. He might also just be saving the tyres a little bit just to make sure he's got enough left to defend with if Hero does catch him. But yeah, it's going to be a spicy last couple of laps if those tyres are dying. We've got a yellow flag in the final sector. It looks like Simdogger and Apollo Pepsi have come together. I saw them jockeying for position. Simdog was very slow. I think he may have actually turned Apollo Pepsi around. He lets him back through. So at least a bit of sportsmanship there from Simdogger. I don't think it was intentional, the damage, but yeah, jockeying for P17 and not playing for sheep stations, that's for sure.
They were saying in the tier 3 chat that if they crash, it's going to be with each other, so consider they weren't joking.
Well, look at this. Big battle for P11 as Combine YouTuber trying to get down the inside of Artanas. He's currently holding the last points paying position. Combine on soft tyres, but they're about 7 laps old, so there's not going to be a lot of life left in them. Thank you for the follow, HK Racing F1. Hope you're enjoying it. Just a couple of laps to go. Plenty of action left. As Combine, is he going to have a go for the inside? Oh, look at the concertina happening there. The Alpine of T-Mac. Oh, contact between the two Williams drivers as well, Artanas and Pondon. And that's going to give Combine a mega run down the pit straight. He's on the racing line as well. He's got DRS, using a bit of his ERS as well. He's going to try go around the outside, but he decides to slip back into behind Pondon. But yeah, the two Williams drivers tripping over each other out of the final corner and nearly ending in disaster. They're both in the points, and it's cost them P10. And Combine now, and a very good chance of picking up a few more positions here before the end.
Yeah, that's unfortunate there for Jackson, losing out there. Combined, obviously looking very hungry. He is going to try and get as much as he can out of this. He's in a good position right now.
So Mikau under 3 seconds in front of Hero. So Hero is slowly closing, but only a lap and a half to go. I don't think he's going to get there. Big Al has dropped big time off the back of Hero. His hards are dying, and FIBA's getting a very good run onto the back of the Alpine as Pondon and T-Mac swap positions, and there's a big battle brewing here for P8.
My goodness.
Oh, side by side for the Alpine and the Williams, and look at the Ferrari and the other Williams. The 3, 4 wide going into the double. And it's contact between the two. That's between T-Mac and Artanas.
Is he gone?
Goes up to P9. They're still in it.
He caught it.
Don't go 3 wide, please, again. Ekim goes up to P10. Artanas and T-Mac still battling. Look at Artanas cut the track to stay in front of T-Mac, who's got the soft tyres. He's trying to go on the inside as well. And I think he's got it done. T-Mac P11, but they've both lost out from that little squabble. Ponton up to P8, Combined P9, and Ekim P10. Jumping up to Captain of Gold and Potsy. Captain of Gold gets the position on Potsy, but he does have a big penalty as well. Apparently, Pondon and Artanas are desync to each other, so that might explain the contact between the two.
I don't know how T-Mac caught that. His car was sideways. That was scary.
Very scary. So Fever's got DRS on Big Al here. He does have a penalty, but I'm sure he'll want to finish in front of the Alpine regardless. He goes defensive heading into the chicane. And it looks like the position is Fever's a little bit further back. Potsy gets the position back on Captain of Gold. And it might stay that way for a little bit. Big Al's got a decent run on Fever. He's got the inside line and does get the position. And I think that is well and truly settled now. Look at the gap between Mikau and Hero now. Those mediums have definitely died. 2.2 seconds between the two. Let's keep an eye on him. That time's going down very quickly as Potsy gets back in front of Captain of Gold. There's a good battle between these two. The Alfa Romeo has the inside line. Oh, it's so close. Artanis and Ekim changing place as well a bit further back. There's still a good battle here between the Red Bull and the Alfa Romeo as Mikau will come across the line. We'll just stay with this battle one moment longer. I think it's going to be Potsy's. A little bit of contact there to Batemate who loses a bit of traction. But the race win goes to Mikau, followed by Hero. Big Al Fever's fourth, but he'll drop on penalties. He drops way down to P6. Batemate does get within that range and he's fifth. With Fever 6th, Pondon 7th, Combined YouTuber 8th, Captain of Gold 9th, and Ekim 10th.
What a race. That was absolutely ridiculous. T-Mac and Jackson both are running on 3 tyres at the moment.
Look at the gap. T-Mac 5,000ths of a second behind Artanis.
Oh, yeah, they crossed the line, just interlocked, and as soon as they crossed, both of them just aimed at the wall. So now they're both sort of just like sitting at the pits.
Absolutely.
Guys sitting on the pit straight.
Just waiting for a few cars to come across the line. We've got Trin, CJM, Apollo Pepsi, and Simdogger. And thank you very much, Terry Tibbs and Lewis Keyser for the follows. Hope you guys enjoyed that race. We're kind of hoping for a bit more action, but it ended up being quite alright with the strategy, mixing things up a little bit and some good battles throughout the field. So a pretty solid race from Tier 1 here tonight. Not a classic by any means, but definitely entertaining. Apollo Pepsi and Simdogger still battling across the line. And they crash into the Alpine of, I think that's T-Mac.
What?
Not sure who won that one. I'm pretty sure that Apollo Pepsi had a few penalties, so I think Simdog should get the position. But those two, I think, were having a very tasty battle at the very back of the field for most of the race. Every time I looked at the leaderboard, it was jostling for position down there. But well done to Mikau. Once he got out of DRS, he controlled that race very nicely, and even though his tyres died in the last couple of laps, he built enough of a buffer. He was able to maintain control. Well done to Hero as well, second place on the podium. And Big Al as well, picking up P3. So very, very good race from those people. And yeah, Potsy fourth. A great drive from him, up from P17 on the grid to P4. Absolutely mega drive from him in his reserve role tonight. Batemate picks up P5, so 2 Alpha Tauris in the top 5. Fever P6 with that penalty. Could have been 2 McLarens in the top 5 if that had not happened. We've got Ponton combined, Captain of Gold, and Ekim rounding out the top 10 with Artanis, T-Mac, Endercap, Crush, Trin, CJM, Apollo, Pepsi, Simdogger, and Sandeezy rounding out the grid. So it looked like Simdogger had more penalties than Apollo Pepsi, so Pepsi getting 17th there. And CJM picking up the fastest lap of the race with 129.995. And a very, very good race from him indeed, but a bit unlucky as well. Alrighty. Thank you very much for tuning into Tier 1. We have about a 15-minute break until we'll come up to Tier 2, so please stick around for that. We'll be back shortly. Thank you very much, Psycho, for joining me tonight on commentary. With short notice, he may or may not have forgotten that he had said he would help me out, but it's alright, we'll forgive him.
Thank you for letting me join. It was a lot of fun. One hell of a race.
Absolutely. So good luck with your race in Tier 2, and please stick around, everyone. I've been Gus Rules, and I think Sandeezy will be jumping into the commentary box shortly. So thank you for tuning in for Tier 1. Tier 2 will be back in a moment.
Cheers.